Atomic Heart has a wide range of weapons. Heavy shotguns for blowing enemies in half, pistols for destroying innocent baby robots, and even that crappy starting axe that's as strong as a plastic bag on a windy day. Can you beat Atomic Heart with that plastic bag? Before I go into this challenge, I want to set myself some ground rules. Not only will I be limiting myself to melee, I want to stick to the first axe that we get, the Swede. Aptly named because we're turning everybody into vegetables. So this means no shock ability unless it's used to open doors, no using other melee weapons like the snowball, pashtet, or the fucking shit. No using other melee weapons like the snowball, pashtet, or the shvedjdosh. I'm not gonna completely limit myself, however. I am allowing upgrades to my vegetable axe and vegetable character as well. Trust me, this is needed, especially for the double dash that you'll see later on. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Actually, before we do jump into it, spoiler warning for the entire game. I'm not going to be covering the plot in much detail, I'll be focusing on the gameplay and challenge. But I will be describing some of the plot just to keep us in line with our objectives. The usual intro plays, we hop in Ron Weasley's flying car, land at the complex, Terry explodes, we crash land, and then the real game begins. With full character control and equipped with our Swede, we slaughter every animal in sight. Every porky turned into a bacon sandwich and nearly every chicken turned into a finger-licking good KFC bucket. But one chicken remained. Protected by the confines of a metal cage, impenetrable by my basic axe, the chicken who lived. I'm sure nothing will come of this. After murdering all of Old MacDonald's farm, we got yeeted into the Vavilov complex and stole a shotgun off a guy that no longer needed it, so we could disassemble it for parts later. I made sure to loot up as much as possible for future axe upgrades, killed a few people, and then a Brav killed us. Luckily, Dr. Larissa was on hand to save us, and in return we saved her dying friend unsuccessfully. Since Karma's being a bitch, we then got attacked by a mustache-wearing judo cyclops. Karma might be a bitch, but she's no match for me, and we split her in half pretty easily, and then teabagged her. In the next room we got groped and catcalled by Nora, the vendor/upgrade station, and after calming her down we upgraded our Swede and dismantled our shotgun. On our search for Petrov we swam through some whale cum, talked to a dead guy, and then went on our very first cable car ride. Angry that our cable car crashed, we took our anger out on 2 mustache robots. We met a big Brav again, and even after he nearly killed us last time, we trusted him now because we thought he was really cute and friendly. He was not in fact friendly. Petrov was up ahead but guarded by some lasers, so we talked to our favourite pervy lunatic fridge, Nora. Nora gave us a lovely ability to take less damage from lasers, and then she asked us to squirt our polymer inside her, which is just gross. With less polymer inside of our body, we then jumped through the laser and finally met Viktor Petrov. Mr. Petrov threw some flying robots at us and then ran away like a little bitch. Once we dispatched these robots, our search began again. Finding Petrov is going to be a recurring theme in this video. After a bit of searching for Victor, a bit of dancing to future songs, and a bit of swimming in polymer, we made it into the next area. And let me just tell you, this area had so many enemies. Most of these enemies fly. As you can imagine, this proved quite difficult with a close-range axe. We got harassed by a rocket-shooting crispy critter and then took our anger out on another judo robot. Swam through some more polymer and found Petrov. Again. Well, most of them anyway. Because nothing in this game is simple, we had to feed a dying tree 4 canisters in order to open the main door and escape, because a lock and key is just boring. Before the treasure hunt began, I disassembled every single item that I had in my inventory and upgraded my axe, swapping out the twirling ballerina attack for a heavy crushing blow attack. On our journey to find these mystical canisters, we destroyed some explosive ticker zombies from The Last of Us. They were pretty easy with my new crushing blow attack and really didn't prove a challenge. Essentially, we were killing vegetables with vegetables. Here at Benightedness, we were very environmentally friendly and health conscious. We entered the algae room and Bigwell from the movie Robots greeted us by knocking us on our ass. The algae room was quite challenging because of all the flying repair robots, some of which shot fucking lasers. And with no real means of destroying them until they were extremely close, I took Petrov's advice and hid like a little bitch. In one of the next rooms we met something far worse than laser robots. Something that only appears in nightmares of horrifying magnitude. It dawned on us that this was our fault. We let this murderous chicken escape. We caused the pain that this distinguished gentleman went through. This now deceased gentleman was one of our subscribers too. And if you don't want to end up like this man, then I highly recommend you subscribe and turn on notifications. Or the little chicken here. No, not that little chicken. Scary little chicken here comes for you too. Anyway, after we ate our KFC wings, we went into the cold workshop to get our 3rd canister. This room actually proved quite challenging because of the high number of flying enemies. My first goal was to destroy all the spawners that kept creating these flying potato things, but that didn't really seem to help much. Luckily, they did prioritize us over clogging up the fans. We got the cold canister, saw a scientist turn into another ticker, ripped his tongue out, and made our way to the dead tree. After saving the tree, we upgraded the steel blade fully and finally left the Vavilov complex. Combat so far hasn't been overly challenging with our current upgrades, but flying enemies still pose a serious threat however, and I don't think that will change unless we get some God of War axe throwing ability. Once again we were searching for Petrov. The gate leading out of this village was locked however, and we needed Xena to give us the codes to open the door. After drinking all Xena's lovely herbal tea and eating all of her biscuits, we ransacked the nearby village and headed for the gate. Once we were finished chopping up a judo robot and stealing his guts, we hopped in our very first car. This lasted all of 10 seconds before I crashed and died. Attempt number 2 didn't go much better. I crashed very shortly after, but this time I found the button on my keyboard to exit the car, and since P3 has excellent manners, he closed the door gently before the car blew up. We made the rest of our journey to the train station on foot. Once there, we were greeted by a stupid Raffic that just wouldn't let us travel without a ticket. After robbing some dead guy's train ticket, we gently handed it over to the Raffic and off we went. 2 minutes into my 5th martini and Big Weld attacked again, blowing our train up. Stockings ran away like a little bitch and we were left to face a new shield enemy. These guys are surprisingly harder than the judo robots we normally face. Unhappy with how inefficiently we killed the shield guy, we consulted Nora to upgrade the Swede further. It's not that we don't trust Nora or anything, but we still had to test the item she gives us, so down to the shore to find our next victim we went. After successfully testing our new upgrade on a judo guy, we hid the evidence under the pier. Entering into a big maze-like area, I could smell it. Close by. Revenge. Twice this cute Big Weld guy knocked us on our ass, so it's time he gets what's coming to him. Holy shit, this guy's fast. Considering his size, he's extremely agile, so we had to keep our distance most of this fight, letting him tire himself out. Once he tired himself out and injected his core, I stuck my floppy vegetable inside him and took 50% of his health off. These upgrades really are coming in handy. That was a relatively easy fight and I only used a few medkits. With Big Weld out of the way, we made our way to the VDNH complex. We solved a few magnetic puzzles, watched Bob lose a loved one. So sad. And finally solved a relay puzzle to power up the doors to the complex. Tired after our Big Weld fight, we watched a few cartoons before proceeding forwards. Terry asked us to find her arm, finger a door with it, and then told us to prove we aren't a robot? Wait, a real life captcha? Given to us by a fucking robot? I guess the captcha was worth completing because Terry gave us a tour through the museum. And then she thanked us at the very end. As payment for Terry's services, she asked us to put her friend Claire back together. While searching for Claire's legs, we one-hit a judo, fought another shield guy, which proves my point that they're considerably harder to fight, and we came across a new enemy. After destroying our new friend, we stuck some limbs onto Claire, played Snake on our flat-screen Nokia, and then got a hand from a Barav. Like, literally. Clearly the enemies in this room weren't happy about that joke, and they decided to attack me. Every single robot. It felt like there were hundreds of them. We went outside to do some parkour and were told no by 2 flying guys. Ashamed and embarrassed, we upgraded our health and tried again. Thanks to our new health upgrade, we survived being eaten by a new enemy called a Plush. This new enemy is resistant to guns and allergic to vegetable melee weapons. After killing the slimy, slippery Plush, we fully assembled Claire and got ourselves into another fight with a robot army. Once the big fight ended, P3 decided to take a nap and have some nice dreams about Mario Land. After waking up, 2 sexy robots began embracing each other and then a gummy bear man was made. Maybe P3 isn't awake yet. It turns out Petrov is still alive, so we need to find him again. Again. After crashing our car for the 100th time, we continued our journey on foot and made it to Petrov's hideout. He captured us and fled again. At this point, P3's pretty damn angry that Petrov escaped for the 800th time, so we took our anger out on all the chickens. And nobody was left alive this time. These chickens shall not cause any more harm to humanity. Killer Chicken will still make you subscribe though. Do you remember at the very start of the game where that belly ash knocked us into an elevator? Well, he came back for round 2. This big daddy looking guy really didn't stand much of a chance. At this point our axe was nearly fully upgraded and each of our hits took off a big chunk of his health. Double dodge and the heavy attack abilities came in especially handy here. We were able to dodge most of his attacks and killed him in no time. As if the belly ass fight wasn't enough, we now had to kill a Plush, but it's okay because I've become a master of dodging at this point. Strangely enough, our next fight against a bunch of smaller creature was way tougher. Inside the theater, the flying zombie enemies just did not stop spawning. I had no means to kill the spawners either because of how high up they were. I abandoned this fight and talked to a dead electrician guy who told me how to make some ballerina dance to open a door. This game has a strange narrative. We made the ballerina jiggle, which nobody liked because every single enemy in this game just came to attack me. Although killing enemies to this music was pretty peaceful, I do have to admit. With sore feet from all the wonderful dancing and sore hands from swinging my floppy vegetable about, we made our way to the stage to finally confront Petrov for good. Petrov didn't even give us the satisfaction of killing him, and he chopped his own head off. Bit dramatic and selfish if you ask me. Natasha spawned from absolutely nowhere and proved to be quite challenging. She had this really annoying spinning attack which made it impossible to get close to her, and she also shot rockets from range. The good thing about Natasha is that she's as heavy as my axe and is extremely slow. Once we had Natasha defeated, we stripped her and climbed our way out of the wreckage. With Petrov dead and his head in our hands, we left for the Pavlov complex to extract his thoughts or some science shit. We got into our safe and secure car that definitely won't blow up, got attacked by a plush, and just like something out of a movie, the plush hit us so hard that we got stuck sideways in the motorway. I couldn't make this up if I tried, the car was perfectly lodged. Back on foot, we went underground and were greeted by some epic music. Oh, that's never good. The Pavlov complex was overcome with enemies, so most of our journey included fighting both smaller ads and bigger plush enemies. Since my character skills were fully upgraded at this point, the enemies didn't do too much damage to me, but my axe did a lot of damage to them. The shield guy still posed the most threat. Once again, poor little P3 got tired after his big fight and decided to have a nap with some lovely dreams. Once we woke up, Larissa told us to meet her at the Bioshock Lighthouse. She's been self-reflecting since her boyfriend Petrov died. It would be amazing if I could tell you that we journeyed to the lighthouse with no interruptions, but that would just be a big lie. We met another boss in the sandy beaches beside the lighthouse. A dewdrop. Since we're getting into the late game now, it should come as no surprise that this boss was the most difficult so far. The dewdrop had very thin, wiggly legs that were extremely hard to hit. It really didn't help that I was constantly using a slow heavy attack. The dewdrop used a lot of ranged laser attacks, making it really hard to get in close. After a lot of dodging, a lot of missing, and a good few medkits, the dewdrop fell. I made a joke about the polymer liquid being whale cum earlier, and honestly, after seeing this poor dead whale on the beach, I'm not too sure if that's a joke anymore. Inside the lighthouse, Larissa informed us that Sechenov is fucked in the head and plans on mind controlling people. So we pretty quickly sided with her and decided to go kill him. After the boss fight, P3 was very tired and started having dreams about gummy bear heaven, but was abruptly woken by Granny Xena. Xena gave us some weapons and told us to go kick Sechenov's ass in Chalamet. Before our big ending fight, we needed one last talk with the love of our life. Nora. Our Swede was almost fully upgraded, we were only missing a polymer axe blade. This axe blade was way too far back at this point, and I was fully confident in my little vegetable's power. Inside Chalamet, Sechenov's right-hand robot Left came to fight us, and I thought this one would be a bit of a harder fight. Although Left used her Wolverine claws on us, it was pretty easy. A few heavy attacks later and we had her fleeing. Not before we had our passionate moment with her. Actually, maybe that's why she ran away. We followed Left up to Sechenov and confronted him. With no compassion, he instructed both Right and Left to kill us. They took this job very seriously because they tried to kill me with a fucking plane. Like, how unnecessary is that shit? I've said it before, but let me reiterate that the heavy attack and double dodge have made this challenge way easier than I expected. The heavy attack with a fully upgraded axe deals so much damage to enemies in this game, and the double dodge recharges so quickly that it becomes almost difficult to get hit. In saying that though, even though my character's health was fully upgraded, this fight still cost me a few medkits but wasn't overly challenging. Once I laid both of them to rest, Sechenov told me that they were both parts of my wife. So I shot him in the dick. Then a large gummy bear killed Sechenov, then P3, then took over the world. The end. All in all, this challenge was extremely fun. You begin to appreciate the melee weapons a lot more as you play with them. You also find new strategies for killing enemies and become a lot more careful with getting hit when you're using melee only and have to get up close and personal. I wouldn't say that it was an overly difficult challenge. I originally started on the easiest difficulty because I thought it would be a lot tougher. I'd imagine this would get a lot more frustrating on the Armageddon difficulty. I'm not sure if it would make it more fun, however, because being able to blast through enemies with the Swede was pretty satisfying. So to answer this video's question, can you beat Atomic Heart with the Swede only? Yes, you can, and pretty easily too. I really hope you all enjoyed this challenge, and if you have any suggestions for future game challenges you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. I'll give you a little spoiler and tell you that I do have a Resident Evil 4 remake challenge planned out already, so if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe so you get notified when I release it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time. Moira Brown. Medic, botanist, scholar, engineer, a jack of all trades. Kind of like a Fallout version of Johnny Sins. Moira Brown is the owner of the Craterside Supply in Megaton, possibly the most used vendor in Fallout 3.